Yeah. I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address. And now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just fighting in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay. Hey, you guys. Obviously, this is my second live today so far. I have another one, but that's a members live later on. But anyways, so thank you guys for coming back and I don't know, Pincho. I'm gonna spank you. Boom, boom, boom. Hi, Truthful Soul. How are you? Hi, Sarah. How's everything? How's everybody doing today? There's Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Steve Smith. And positive vibes. Yep, positive vibes here. And hi again, Angel. Everything with that. Yeah, and you know what? It's just I'm just gonna show you more confusing stuff, to be honest with you, on there. So we're gonna look at I have some timestamps that I want to go over with this video in front of you with Rebecca Smith, and then we're gonna go back over to that walkthrough with of course the Ron, but that whole I want to go to the other part of that, but I got a few timestamps that I want to go through with you guys as well. But of course, don't forget, you guys, please give the live a like and a share if you don't mind. And again, keep everything, respectful in chat, like you guys always do. There's only the odd little troll that makes his way in here. It's very rare anymore. Most people know that if you're not good, I'm just going to boot you. Hi, Lynn. How are you? From Scotland. Yes. And that. So, okay. So, you know what? Let's just get into it. I'm going to take myself off screen so I can play the certain parts that we're going to go through. Let's see here. Let's start off, I think, at... Okay. Well, I think we're going to go to the 13-minute mark, basically, here. So let me just, whoops, that's obviously not 13 minutes. Where are you? 13 minutes, right about here. Okay. This one should be about the local dog walker. Okay. 13. Okay.
Out in front of her, listening to it. And we can say from a witness that knows her that morning, that is what she was doing. So that would explain why she doesn't have a phone in her pocket, as I know a number of people have raised. We then know at about 9:33, a local dog walker who is walking a dog comes across the bench and finds Willow untied, running between the bench and the gate. The mobile phone is on the bench, face upwards, still logged into the Teams call, and Willow's harness is halfway between the bench and the riverside. That witness makes a number before returning home, she then returns and makes a number of phone calls to people, because at that point she doesn't know who the dog belongs to or who the phone belongs to, and doesn't know how to get in touch with people.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it there for a second, because this one always kind of threw me off when she's talking about the dog walker. And I'm just going to go back to that spot where she like stumbles or wobbles.
But again, I'd just like to point her out that it's really normal for Nicola, when in a Teams call, to be holding her phone out in front of her, listening to it. And we can say from a witness that knows her that morning, that is what she was doing. So that would explain why she doesn't have her phone in her pocket, as I know a number of people have raised.
It's coming up.
We then know at about 9:33, a local dog walker who is walking a dog comes across the bench and finds Willow untied, running between the bench and the gate. The mobile phone is on the bench, face upwards, still logged into the Teams call, and Willow's harness is halfway between the bench and the riverside. That witness makes a number before returning home. She then returns.
I like right there, for instance. It says like she then returns home, and then she says she returns, and I'm just like, okay, wait, what? I mean, it's only because as you listen to it, she'll go, and eventually people, return. Because at first I'm like, what are you even saying there? So she returned, made phone calls. She came back, made phone calls. She went home, made phone calls. But because she says eventually, but it kind of throws you off because she stumbles totally over her words there. And so, okay, hold on a second. Let me just see what you're saying here. Hi, Lainey. Love to hear your views on a post I sent yesterday regarding the coincidence of JRBS and Paul's relative arrested and found guilty on substance charges where the guys were jailed. I'll have to go look at that one, Steve, and then answer that one. Was it on? It was on yesterday's. Yesterday's, okay. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Hi, Donna. Thank you for subscribing. And the day after the police called off the search, JR finds Nikki. Come on, that's too coincidental for my liking. What's your views, Sunny? The day after the police called off the search. Oh, you're talking about Jason Rothwell. I've never really put a lot of thought into it, to be honest with you, Steve. I was just grateful that Nikki was finally found. I don't know. I mean, I put a little bit of thought into it, but not really much. I mean, I guess, like he says that he got this intuitive whatever the moon's Jupiter's aligned and something like that, or whatever he said, I don't think there was much more to that, to be honest. I don't think like he ditched her in the water and then it was like, oh, I found her, or anything like that. I just think that someone made their way down over there, and out of fate, luck, whatever you want to call it, they saw Nicola Bulley's body floating, but a quarter of a mile before it rested underneath the brush there. That's kind of, for me, that's like outreaching too much, to think too much about that one, to be honest with you. I know people have their own thoughts, and that's perfectly fine on what they think about Jason Rothwell or whatever. I personally, however he found her, someone at least finally found her. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that the water tides were pretty high, so perhaps wherever she was before, Some people think she was put in after the fact, but hopefully the autopsy or the inquest will give us some answers to that. But so do we even think she may have gloves on, because to holding a phone for 30 minutes when it was nearly freezing doesn't seem feasible. Um, so let me read that again. So do we think she may have had gloves on? Well, I mean, it looked like she had gloves on, didn't it? In the video, because to hold a phone for 30 minutes when it's nearly freezing cold doesn't seem feasible. I don't know exactly what your temperature was out there. I can't remember what it was like that morning. We know it was brisk. I know some people think that there was frost on the ground, but there was no frost on the ground. And I think that's because a news footage used another day where there was frost on the ground. But it kind of looked like she had gloves on, didn't it? Out of that video that Paul Ansel gave to Grizzly True Crime. Hi, Justa. How are you? The arresting officer was Becky Smith. Are you talk? Sorry, Steve. I'm not. Yeah, this is the lady who was the officer in charge of that case. There have been rumors that Rothwell knows the family. You should look into that. Again, I've sat there and looked around at different things for sure already. And, I've never seen an attachment. And I don't know where people keep getting it from that Paul Ansel is related to Penny and that that's her auntie or anything like that. I've never seen anything on any one of their Facebooks that has Bully Ansel attached to their Facebooks or anything like that. So I don't know. I remember that people started saying that, but then people started saying a lot of different things. And sometimes people just take it on like it was fact and stuff like that. So again, unless somebody literally has proof that that Paul Ansel is tied to Penny, or even owns a caravan site there, because a lot of people started digging into his his businesses, which I looked at as well. But a lot of people started, it's almost like they were taking on the information as if it was fact, when is there anything out there that literally shows? Sorry guys, I'm just going to keep scrolling down, just because I'm probably going to get behind. Think because Paul has a caravan for his business address on their site. Again, all I'll ask is this: if anyone has any actual factual information that Paul owns some land or a parcel or whatever you call it, on the caravan site, then that makes a difference versus all the different theories out there that people are talking about. The thing is that I personally find that too time consuming. So I'll look into things myself because I like to look into things and try to dig myself. And if somebody can help me out by sending me information, and then I'll go look at it, and then I'll look for myself. Like I said, I don't sit there and watch. Oh, 1 second. Hi, honey. You back already?
Kofi.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys don't have A&W in the UK, I'm told.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been 8 years since I've been there.
Yeah. Okay. So again, I like to kind of stick with the things that are out there, and not just because somebody put it out there and then it became fact to some people. Hi, Port with Steppa. I was gonna say hi, sweetie, and then I flubbled over my tongue there. Well, I think that they got it wrong, to be honest with you. Or there's some business association. The only thing I do recall is somebody said that they had the wrong caravan, that it was actually a different caravan site or something like that. Um, for the fact that I personally don't believe Paul had any involvement with his wife's disappearance, um, which I don't. I never felt like uh, watching Paul's interview, me and Adam ourselves, I never felt deception coming from Paul. I like to read people because I know that I'm, you know, pretty good at that stuff. It's kind of been a thing since I was younger. And I personally, compared to some other people that think it, I never felt this deception from Paul. In fact, no, if anything, my heart was breaking because all I was thinking about was being in someone's position like that, and then to have two daughters that no longer, probably don't have a mother. Now, at the time, I think this was before Nicola Bulley was found, you know, I was hoping that she just maybe took off, kind of made it seem like she had gone, but she'd just taken off until, of course, she was sadly found on the 19th. I've never seen anyone saying that they were related, but PA kind of is stick around. Look on company house. Yeah, again, if somebody does have the information for that, please just email me at acrimingshame@gmail.com and I'll gladly look at it, you know, and then, put it back out there. As for Paul Ansel, again, being related, I, you know, personally, no one's sent me anything, and I haven't come across anything because I always do when I'm like on Facebook stalking someone. I call it stalking because I don't really care. It's public. It's public. Simple as that. Even if you close it off, people still hit your little likes and share, stuff like that. But I've always will type in bully or Ansel and stuff like that just to see, as I scroll down the list, just kind of look to see if there's connections and stuff like that there. Uh, what is out there are the documents of Paul and Penny both owning the same caravan park. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, did. But again, each to their own how they saw that. I mean, just like I wouldn't tell you how to think on how you felt about it. I know how I felt about it, and I didn't feel like there was any deception myself about that BS was the arresting officer from the Blackpool. Uh, uh, Steve, for me personally, you're talking about something more that I'm not really familiar with. The topic of what you're talking about. There's unnatural, that's BS, was the arresting officer from the Blackpool. Then Paul's relative and JR are back on Becky Smith's radar is mad. Again, I don't honestly know what you're really referring to. It's probably a path that I've never overly looked down. It was really mostly about the timeline of Nicola Bulley and, trying to stay within the facts that are out there. And all I can say is, again, if there's information that somebody has that they want to email me to make me see something differently. But I'm talking about, like, okay, so Paul and Becky, not Becky, Penny, you know, own the same site or something like that. It's stuff, like I said, I looked at that stuff a while back, and it was just like everyone goes down their certain roads, right? I just like to look for the truth of, well, really, the timeline to make sense of it doesn't make sense. And in Nicola Bulley's case, nothing seems to make sense. Pinch send them to Sunny. Yeah, if I've seen that owning the park. Right, exactly. If you have them, then just feel free to send, right? That's the easiest thing to do. It's on the government website, company's house. Yeah. Well, again, If someone could just send me that email or that address or link or whatever, I'll take a look. Apologies. I just really feel if she fell in, they would have found her. Peter was there doing his stuff and police divers access. Well, I think all of us feel that way. And that's the part that I keep saying is, there's nothing consistent. And why didn't they find her? Like I said, I'm friends with a couple of the big search teams out there in the US, even though I'm from Canada. But, we've had Doug Bishop on our show from AWP, and there's another channel that's called Chaos Divers and stuff like that. These are people that spend their lives doing this type of work. And, so that's why it was prompting me to ask some questions about that because, it just didn't seem normal that in a small river and within hours, how could they not find her? And then they searched the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, used equipment, used drones, used all that stuff. We haven't got too far into it, Katrina, but it just seems like I said yesterday, it would have to be the absolute perfect storm that happened. And it is possible. It is possible that the perfect storm happened and everyone missed her. No, she didn't leave any tracks. She didn't leave nothing to show that she was there. I mean, it's still a possibility. It's just in anyone's typical normal head thinking, they would think that that's not very logical, that everything would have to work out perfectly for it to equate to that they couldn't find her. I wonder whether the security firm was paid to patrol St. Michael's Village for a few days. It was there. Don't know, Jackie. I saw it on the government site. Are you talking about the one where you look up Paul's businesses? That one? We haven't had much rain. River level was low. Well, no, it was low. It was low that particular day. But I believe, Angel, when she was found, the river was on the higher side. Someone was posting, video about the water levels and stuff like that, because they do have a site that you can actually, that the St. Michael's will, talk about their water levels or whatever. But I remember somebody distinctly putting out a video about the different water levels, and that at the time I think that she was found, the water levels were higher, and that's probably, to me, perhaps, she was. It depends on how you look at this case. Either you think she was put there afterwards, or you think that she took her own life, or that she did just fall in. It just really depends on how you look at the case. To be honest, is what you're gonna think. So, to me, if she was in the water the whole time and they just missed her, where the heck was she the whole time and how did they not find her? It just seems absurd, doesn't it? In a small, it's not like it's a big pond or, a big arse lake. It's like a slough. When I look at it, I would call that a slough, a slow running slough. So how did Nicola, if she fell in there, escape everything that would be plausible? She just defied all the, defied everything basically, and they just couldn't find her. So it just really depends on how you are, what angle you're looking at the case from. We had rain, but she was found the day after the search had ended. Right. I have been trying to send you an email, but it just keeps saying invalid email. Katrina, let me just put it up there quickly. I'll just show it right here. Let me just hide your comment for a second. It's right there, acrimingshame@gmail.com. Just how it looks right there. So I'm not sure if you're doing it's a criming shame or A like Canada A. Uh-huh. No, she was in a conduit or rolling water lake. It's absurd, and that's why we're all here now. It is absurd. Absolutely. My dream holiday was using an RV from Vancouver 10 years ago. I covered 6,780 kilometers in 3 weeks. God had great time when he made Canada. So envious. Canada is very spacious. If anyone hasn't been here, it's like a population of about what 35 million to 40 million people over this vast uh, basically country that we live in, and it's just a lot of greenery, a lot of nature, lot of nothingness in a sense because it's so spread out in lots of ways. Besides, like I live in Vancouver, so obviously, like I live in Langley, which is a suburb of Vancouver, so it's really hustle and bustle here. But we kind of live in a spot that's called Walnut Grove, and so it's kind of like a suburb of Langley that's on the other side of the highway. So it's kind of like its own little village, if you want to call it that. And then when you want to go out of the village, you go over the bridge. But okay, so when she flubbles there, that's like I said, what bugged me. And then she kept going. I like how she said the word, and then they eventually. Let me just play that out still.
And makes a number of phone calls to people because at that point she doesn't know who the dog belongs to or who the phone belongs to and doesn't know how to get in touch with people. She makes a number of inquiries with a local vet who can't assist her, and following a number of inquiries, eventually people return to the bench, recover the handset and Willow, and we find out that obviously they belong to Nicola. The alarm is then raised with the local school, who then in turn contact Paul, Nicola's.
Okay, so that was really kind of what I wanted just to play there. Just kind of like how she fumbled over her words, and I was like, wait, what? So she returned, so, but then I thought to myself, wait, what? So she said something like, I can't even think of what exact words she said now. I'm hoping to come over and visit my son in Toronto later this year. Yeah, that's on the East Coast, eh? Don't think about going to Canada, just go. Easiest thing is getting there. Hardest thing is coming home. Well, I'm so grateful that my husband came to Canada from England. I'll tell you that much. My husband, he's a wonderful husband. Okay, so that was okay, let's go back to 9:38 here. Okay, we'll play it at about here. We'll play it at about here.
And proceeded, after chatting to a couple of people in the school yard, walked up Garstang Road and onto the river path.
Okay, so like I said, she chatted to a couple people at school. Hi, Ray Jones. How are you? Home, sweet home, Canada. Yeah, so that's what I mean, right? She says she chatted to a couple of people at school. How come you never heard about them really anymore? Did they just not want to tell us about them anymore, or what? They didn't really exactly stick them in the timeline or anything like that. You must really leave the UK and go to Canada. Absolutely. Yep. Me and my husband are best friends, and yeah, just a good couple. She is. I know she's so arrogant, Lynn. There's so many times when I'm watching this that the way she is passive aggressive and how she's saying, and I remember one particularly where it was like, well, it's not like I can talk to the dog, and she still keeps that smile on her face, and is she saying it? But there's quite a few times where she's being very passive aggressive with her words. Okay, let me I'll look in, give me a few minutes. hopefully, okay, Penny, sorry. Come on, click up there. Penny is a business owner. Becky should stop making her sound like a little old lady who probably cannot use a mobile phone. Yeah, well, you never know though, right? Like, honestly, because I mean, thing is that there's a lot of people that are like, I mean, even when I'm working and I was dealing with customers and stuff before my job ended last August, and I worked in the optical field at that point. But anyways, it's amazing how many people, don't have the technology, or the older generation, though, simply most of them don't care. But who knows, with Penny, what she did have. I was told she had a landline only, but I just kind of surmised myself, and Grizzly True Crime had kind of said the same thing. And I don't really watch, like I said, creators, but I was watching a little bit of Grizzly True Crime, and I'd be like, oh, that's what I was thinking, that she didn't have a phone, because how would it make sense? I mean, we could all be totally wrong. She could have a phone and be, hey, Shelly, that lady doesn't always tell the truth. Well, the first thing is that they're not there to always tell you the truth. They're there to tell you what they want to tell you, and that's simply it. She said that Nicola would take the harness off the dog, but the photos mostly show the harness on the dog. Isn't that true? Yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand when they're walking, but you're right. Like, a lot of the photos have the harness on the dog. Hello, ex little Miss Sunshine. We only have ever heard that Emma from the school, Emma, who has given 17 interviews, have you seen her first interview? Suspicious. She's hiding her face under a dirty baseball cap. I've seen pretty much all of them. Always the one that gets me is when that one where she was like, I think I put a video out there when what I thought was saying surreal, but it was like so tongue twisted. I was like, is she saying surreal? Because it was just weird, that interview with Emma. I know there's a lot of people out there that literally think that Emma either is the one that is Nicola Bulley, but not, and Emma's pretending to be Nicola Bulley and stuff like that. I've pretty much watched everything, really. I mean, how can you not, right? Because every time you're thinking about things and whatever, you have to keep going back to media or videos and stuff. Even if I've listened to it 10 times, I still usually have to go back and go, I know I heard that. Now, which one was it in again? Which video, or which, that's the word I'm looking for, you guys. Come on now. Which press conference is it in, type of thing. But to turn this off, the dog. Like, what, we're going to get into like all that dog stuff in just a bit, actually. But let me go. So my point here for this part that I just played was simply about her saying that a couple people had, talked to Nicola that morning. We have lost Eddie tonight. Okay, so prior just to coming on the live, and I've probably seen at best 10 minutes of Eddie. I think it's Eddie Vinyl or Eddie Vinyl. Is that it? And then only because somebody had sent me the thing saying that Eddie was leaving, but because I don't watch Eddie and I only know his name because a couple people have said his name. But somebody did send me the thing, and I watched literally a few minutes of it. I'm gonna say a couple things, really. First of all, a lot of creators always say that stuff and then they're back within a day or two. Okay, so if Eddie comes back, I mean, honestly, you don't know how many times creators say that they're leaving and then they come back. But to me, first and foremost, each to their own. But never would I ever allow another channel to kind of, like, I would never allow a channel to piss me off enough, regardless if they're stealing my work. If they're trying to steal my work and they're kind of like jerk offs about it, I'm going to copyright strike you. You know, if you're using my material, you know, in a way that's basically you're being a liar and a fraud about it, I'm going to copyright strike you. But never am I going to allow a channel to win or think that they got the better of me. So for Eddie Vinyl, I would simply say this. You're letting somebody obviously get underneath your skin, and it's almost deemed like he's winning, like that AD would be winning, in a sense. And again, you know, I personally think that he'll be back probably. That's just because I see this all the time. But secondly, it's like, what do you mean he wins? So you're just going to roll over and let him win? Or are you going to copyright strike him back or whatever? Or maybe just don't even worry about him and what he does. Because again, to me, it's always karma. You know, that crap will come to the front. But bottom line is, if he's using certain material, but again, you guys, if anyone's not a channel creator and they don't know really how YouTube works, you can't just copyright strike. Like if they're literally playing your stuff, like literally playing it, yeah, you can copyright strike them, sure. Okay. And they can hold that copyright strike, and it takes about 90 days for one copyright strike. And if you get 3 copyright strikes in a sense within a you know, certain amount of time, well, then you're just hooped, right? And he's not giving AD no content by AD, you know. So my thing is this, right? Like I said, I honestly don't care what other channels do. If it comes to my attention, though, that someone's using my, you know, stuff in their video, type of thing, and they're doing it in, like I said, a deceptive way, and they're just being like slime, okay, chances are that I'm going to copyright right strike you if you're being a douche about it, you know. And if you're not really being a douche about it, you know, the proper thing to do, the etiquette thing to do, is that you post the person's, you know, link in the description, right, when you use their content and stuff like that, and or you give them a shout out or something. That's the proper etiquette thing to do. So if somebody's not doing that, you know, again, I don't care enough, honestly, if somebody's using my content, as long as they're not doing it in a malicious way. So I'm not really going to copyright strike anyone. I did it to somebody before, and it wasn't because of me. It's because he obviously had another copyright strike, and he tried to threaten me to take it down. And I was like, you ain't going to threaten me, dude. Like, I'm holding my copyright strike on you. And anyways, his channel ended up getting taken down. Of course, then he built another one, because he was using and twisting and using my content. So I was like, hey, if you're going to sit there and try to attack me and stuff like that, and that's the level that you want to stoop, then I'm going to come back at you, you know. But I'm not sure what I spoke to Penny on the subject of hiring a carer for a week. Interested in a fish held in the river. Have you stayed here before? No, I'm only hiring caravans if you've been here 2 years running. Oh, okay. So you tried talking to her, did you? But anyways, hopefully Eddie Vinyl, you know, he won't. Come on, he'll come back. Trust me on this. He's not going to roll over and die that easy. And if he does, then bad Eddie. You never let anybody get underneath your skin like that to the point that you're saying you're shutting your channel down. Honestly, it's not worth the time or effort. Most times those type of people, you know. But again, your best weapon is copyright if he's using your stuff. And then that will teach him, right? But I've seen it because I've seen him use Curtis Media's footage as well, and stuff like that. And again, you know, I had asked Curtis if I could use, you know, some of his clippings and stuff like that, you know. So that was very kind because Curtis accidentally did put his copyright strike on me, and then he took it down because, you know, he was just, because a lot of people were stealing his work and stuff like that. But anyways, he'll be back. He'll be back. He's not going, guys. If he'll be back in a couple of days, because then he'll get pissed off that he's letting, AD up on one. Now I did hear him say in that video, and I haven't looked myself. I did see it. He was showing the dog tag, and he was saying that the name Dorothy or something was on the dog tag. So he was like, okay, AD, there you go, dude. Come take this away from me and whatever. So regardless or not, if anyone hasn't seen Eddie's, I guess, latest video, go check it out, because he does talk about the dog collar, I guess, on there, and says the name Eddie Angel, who is AD. And AD is Armchair Detective. He has a channel. He has a few channels, to be honest, but I don't really watch him either. I've seen a few segments of his as well. I've probably maybe watched 30 minutes of his stuff, 10 minutes of Eddie's stuff, but I just like to do my own thing, really. I like for instance, if somebody's sitting there saying I'm copying them, well, I can tell you right now I'm not, because I would have to pay attention to their channels, and I just don't. I just kind of do my own thing. Then she added, I can smell the press a mile off. Is that what she said? Looking for information about a bloody woman fishing my arse. Don't call me again. She must be a Cancer. Is she intuitive? That's funny. That's funny, Steve. Hey, Adam, what you doing, buddy? Steve, that just made my day. It was not a word for word. He thought Dorothy was a postal code. Ideas, very good. We do all have to. You know what? At the end of the day, like I said, each channel do themselves. You do you, boo. I'll do me. Whatever. I'm not into their whole things. Like, if there's all that drama, I could care less about that stuff. Honestly. Like I said, we're supposed to be here trying to talk about true crime cases and caring about cases, not sitting there arguing with each other and get our egos all in, all in panties in a knot and stuff like that. I'm getting 3 lives on yes, Lacey. So yeah, the drama llama stuff can just, like I said, stay away, whatever. Just do your own thing, right? Let AD do his thing. And if you feel like he's copywriting you, then copyright strike him, and if you don't, then don't. If he's not being malicious with it or whatever. But I mean, that's, like I said, I could care less about piddly shit like that myself. You just posted an exclusive video. You just posted an exclusive video about Kagan Klein. Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about that paperwork stuff that came out this morning? I was blocked for 10 minutes. Hey, Mustang. Okay, I need to get back on track here. So, wait a second. Let me just see what Adam's talking about here. I'm just gonna let this play. I'm just gonna go to the next spot of this video, and then I'll let it play out just so I can look at a couple of things. So, I think I'm gonna let's go to the Fisherman thing. Let's go to that at the 22. So I was obviously wrong on that yesterday. I thought that they had said that they had talked to them and they weren't suspicious, but obviously my ears heard something different, like a lot of other people's can do as well. So we'll go to that. We'll just play it from the 22 mark, and I'll be right back.
Road, and we can't see any of those fishermen at that time on that day. But we are continuing to try and trace these people. Again, I would urge that they are not necessarily suspicious to me, but I'm really keen to trace them to make sure that there's no further information that they can give us that will assist. In terms of the glove that has been recovered, you'll no doubt be aware that TikTokers have been playing their own private detectives and have been in the area. A glove has been recovered that is not believed to be relevant to the investigation. It is not Nicola's, but we have got that in our possession. Lastly, there has been some mention of CCTV specifically at the caravan sites that hasn't been working and that's suspicious itself. That is not the case. We have been helped and assisted beyond all belief by the caravan owners in this. The whole community wants to find Nicola and wants to give the family the answers that they deserve. Lastly, the family, and they are the most important part of this. And all this speculation and rumour is affecting them. They've got a loving daughter, sister, partner, and mother who is missing. And that is my priority and the priority of the investigation team, and always has. And we can't be detracted from that. I have met the family on a number of occasions and will continue to do so. And they are kept through regularly updated throughout with our progress. There are dedicated family liaison officers who speak daily to the family, and only yesterday spent a significant amount of time with Paul. I can assure you that this investigation has been thoroughly investigated, no differently than any other major investigation from the outset, and that my absolute priority is to do everything we can to provide the answers to Nicola's two daughters who need to know where their mummy is. And whilst we have shared information today about specific individual vulnerabilities specific to this case and Nicola, I would ask you to respect the family's privacy in respect of those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. As I mentioned, we've shared more detail in this conference.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I still haven't looked at my email yet, though. I was just talking to Adam for a second. I'm not inviting Penny to my next Christmas party. Okay, so obviously the Fisherman thing or whatever. I wonder if they ever, I don't know. Why discount the Fisherman? I was just going to say, Lynn, like, I wonder if the Fisherman ever did come forward. Like, I wonder if the Fisherman did come forward. I mean, that's quite the amount of time for them not to come forward. Why wouldn't they come forward? Maybe I should call Penny. Penny. She'll go, you're freaking the American, eh? And then I'm like, no, Canadian, eh? I'm still gonna try. But yeah, like, I'm curious if the Fisherman ever came forward, because that was on the 15th when she was saying that, right? Of February. And obviously, that was from the start about the Fisherman. And it almost seemed like it almost seemed like she could have cared less, really. She was being, again, passive aggressive, thanks for the red vehicle footage, and and thank you so much for sending that in, but you could just see she was just being almost condescending a little bit, as if thanks, thanks, you guys are just wasting our time with frivolous shit, no. And the thing is that once she was found, you'll never know, you'll not know the answer about that. But you think that just out of the fact that these two fishermen obviously know of the case, that they would have come forward. You know what I mean? So what do they have to hide then? What do they have to hide if they don't want to come forward? Because that's kind of pretty ignorant if a person, is being talked about and they know that they were there that time. Don't, yeah. Well, I mean, passive aggressive is a regular term that anyone uses, really, because she is. She's the whole arrogant, pretty much everyone, don't you think, Lynn? Pretty much everyone, even the interviewers like Isla was, and even the crime analyst that was on Grizzly True Crimes, whatever her name is again, had made comments about how defensive and arrogant how abrasive it was coming off. I don't think most people didn't, I think most of us walked away going, oh, well, you're trying to tell us, aren't you? With the U.S. friends cover. The UK police cannot cover this up with our U.S. friends covering this. Hi, Puncture. But yeah, so, I mean, just as a human being, though, like I said, if you knew you were fishing that morning, because obviously you live in that area, and that was on the 15th that she's saying that. Correct. Right. I mean, it's still out there. Like, you can still watch it, but yeah. And then she put up a tweet, took down a tweet, stuff like that. And you're just like going like, so I really do appreciate, interviewers that, speak their mind. And, Isla was basically speaking her mind. And then that interview seemed to come down, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. Maybe the network didn't so much or something like that. I don't know. Let's see here. Chatting to a couple people. Talk about our let's go to the cameras. At 14:35. Let's go to the cameras here.
Next to the scene. Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally. The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have been cooperating with us and so supportive of this investigation at every stage. And we can say that Nicola has not entered that area or left. We can also say that nobody that we haven't traced and spoken.
Okay. So, I'm in the corner here. Yeah, I think I'll go to the side. So they have the CCTV cameras that are working, which is that one, that Grizzly True Crime had, shown where there was the one that was red and one that was green. And so she said that they can tell that Nicola Bulley did not enter or leave that gate. Let me play that again, actually. I want to make sure I'm hearing that exactly right. That was 14:30? Yeah. Okay, one more time.
Scene. Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally. The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have been cooperating with us and so supportive of this investigation at every.
Okay, you guys, this is my question to you guys. What exactly are they referring to when they say front of site? Because when let me go, hold on a second here. Let me take this off for a second, and then we're going to go to Google Earth for a second. Where are you? Google Earth. You guys see that? Yeah, okay. So if those are the cameras, sorry, I got to go to my Google Earth, okay? This is the cameras here. And then they're talking about, covers the gate, front of the gate, entrance of the gate, and front of site. Okay, now, if you look over here, this is where the cameras are showing, basically. Okay, here's the caravan park. So when I hear front of sight, what do you got? Like, what do you guys take that as meaning? When you guys hear front of sight. So then do you guys think that Nicola Bulley say then wasn't in visually seen over here? Is that what you guys are taking that kind of as, that she wasn't visually seen kind of like in this area? Yeah, I'll replay it one more time. Share.
And contact Paul, Nicola's partner, who then makes to the scene. Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally. The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have been cooperating with us and so supportive of this investigation at every stage. And we can say that Nicola has not entered that area or left. We can also say that nobody that we haven't traced and spoken to and discounted has left or entered Rowan Water. The second point.
Okay. So hold on, going back to Google Earth. See, in my ears, 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Let's see if I can, you guys see the screen? Okay. So in my ears, I'm hearing, entrance, front of gate. And then it says front of site. I took that because it's caravan cameras that they're saying that it could see the front of the site because it's the cameras that are the caravan, because that's who they're talking about. That's the field at the back. Front where the CM was filming. Front was where the CM was filming, talking to the police. Hi, Angel. You have to walk through the green area to be seen. The lady in red was captured on a camera from Oliver Fletcher's house, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, because, Rupert Fletcher and Rebecca Fletcher, the sister and brother, kids of Nigel Fletcher and Penny Fletcher, and Oliver's the son of Rupert and Anne-Marie. So I feel it would be near the road where you go into. Maybe. But the thing is that it's like they said, though, that they're talking to the caravan owners. Yeah, but hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay. Let's start it one more time.
And contact Paul, Nicola's partner, who then makes to the scene. Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally. The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have been cooperating with us and so supportive of this investigation at every stage. And we can say that Nicola has not entered that area or left. We can also say that nobody that we haven't traced and spoken to and discounted has left or entered Rowan Water. The second point on CCTV is allotment lane. Again, we've been really, really fortunate, despite it being such a rural area, that we've got numerous sites of CCTV on that road. And that is why we can be confident that.
So when they're talking about a site manager, when they're talking, like she's talking about the Rowan Water cameras. See, and I think, again, that just depends on how somebody determines it. Caravan site is where Ron points near the red brick. The caravan site is where Ron points, right, which is the caravan site, yeah. Ron speaks to Sky, right? Yeah. And walks to the back of Rowan Water. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like I don't get that. But again, it's like if we go to the pictures, I mean, the only cameras that are ever talked about are the CCTV cameras and the cameras like on allotment lane or whatever. So this is sent. This picture right here is sent from somebody that lives over here. And they gave it to Grizzly True Crime. And they're showing what the cameras are able to see, right? This is the one that you can't see because it wasn't working. And this is the one that you can see because it is working. So if you kind of compare it over here, right? This one's kind of looking here this way. So I don't know how far their cameras can actually see, but knowing that this is along the path, this camera is looking that it hits this area here. So to me, that means that she wasn't seen then on here. So she must not have made it to the camera. Like, I don't believe they're talking about over here. Does that make sense? Transporter, front of the site, would that not be where Penny's son was mouthing off? No. She's specifically talking about, like, there's only ever 2 cameras that have ever been talked about, or 2 places that cameras have ever been talked about, really, besides Mike's garage or whatever it is CCTV cameras here and the one on a allotment lane, which and I know that Penny Fletcher, the house that the woman in red was found, is Penny Fletcher's. So front of site would not be like way over here where you come in, or wherever the frick the entrance is over here. Yeah, like, no way that camera's seeing that, I would think, because then they would have seen her if she was on this side. Hold on, let me just go back to what you guys were saying. Would like to know when the camera stopped working. Right. Is that something I think that has to do with, like, that Rupert guy or whatever? That camera? The camera wouldn't see the pass. The bushes and the trees would block it. Well, I mean, again, I'm just going by, you guys. Just like, whoops, sorry. No. Close off. Stop it. Go away. Stupid thing. I'm sorry, I went to my other thing instead. Like I said, this is the picture. You know, yeah, it's covering the trees, but it's still catching some of the path, according to this picture. Okay? I mean, all we can do is that, right? So if somebody that lives there shows this picture, that's all we can go by. Unless somebody else specifically has footage from these cameras, that's the best information I guess we could probably go by. front of Rowan Waters. She says you can see the entrance, the gate, and the front of site. So it just, I think, means whatever you guys determine front of site to be, because when I say here front of site, I'm thinking because the cameras are showing this, that it's pointing like towards like I don't know, over here. Because if the cameras are here, then it's pointing towards front of site. That's how I always took that, you know. I remember me and John were having this discussion because I was like, what does that mean to you? I took it as meaning the front of the carrot. Well, not the front, like not where Curtis Media was, because that's not going to be possible there, because we're not talking about that camera. Like there's no, I don't know about a camera over there. I've never even heard of that camera, if there is one over there. If there is, I can't remember hearing about it, because Rebecca's specifically talking about this camera up here, the Rowan Water camera. Front of Rowan Water site, which is way past the field. Yeah, but that's not what Rebecca's talking about, though. Rebecca's clearly talking about the Rowan Water camera. She's saying it can see the gate. It can see that. And she's talking about Rowan Water. So that's why like I said, I mean, Rowan Water's here. So that wouldn't make sense if she's talking about Rowan Water and then people are talking about a camera way over here on Allotment Lane. That wouldn't make sense. Right? I don't know. And this is why I thought I don't know. For me personally, because I know that you guys can use different wordage to mean something. So when I heard front of site, I mean, I just think of that as just regular front of site. Like you can see the front of the caravan site or whatever, but not meaning the actual front where Penny was with Curtis Media, but just meaning like this entrance at the back, you know, like the front of the site, like that. I don't know. It was just, I don't know. There was a road behind the fence and a back gate, Rowan Water. The gate to Rowan Water. No, that's not Rowan Water. What's not Rowan Water? Because, I mean, like this is Rowan Water. That's where the two cameras are. At the top of the field, she says. She literally says, at the top of the field. This is the top of the field. So these are the Rowan Water cameras at the top of the field. Right? Yeah. Right. Some people call, I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like, I guess, like I said, to me, it's like she said top of the field. She said Rowan Water cameras. This is top of the field. This is Rowan Water area. And I can see the gate, right? I can see the gate. I can see the front entrance. And I can see the front of the site. The front of the site was the part that, what do you mean that's not Rowan Water? What do you mean that's not Rowan Water, Pincho? What do you mean? How is that not Rowan Water? It says it right here. Rowan Water. Rowan Water. Top of the field. Rowan Water. Where else does it say Rowan Water? I'm going to spank you, Pincho. Like, the entrance is the top by Garstang Road. Yeah, but she's talking about, that's what I'm saying, you guys. Like, she's literally saying at the top of the field, the Rowan Water cameras. This is Rowan Water. Did you see John see the camera during his walk around the field? Did John see the camera? No, I didn't. Did you see it, William? But why? My thing is this. At the top of the field, These are the CCTV cameras we're talking about, though. This is Rowan Water. It clearly says that on the map. It doesn't say Rowan Water over on Garstang Road. Right? Or from the caravan site. No. Wait. One covers the top of the field. No, the front of the site is further. Rowan Water is street Mr. Last Lives at the other side of the gate. She's referring to it as Rowan Water is what? What are you saying there? Rowan Water is stream Mr. Last Lives on the other side of the gate. She's referring to it as the Rowan Water cameras. The field is at the back. You want the front. Like, the only cameras that have ever come into play with Nicola Bulley, as I recall, was these two cameras and some cameras on Allotment Lane. That's all I've ever seen, ever talked about. Like, so I don't know where something else is being said here. I'm confused. Because there's nothing else. The front is on Garstang and Allotment Lane. Back camera. Yeah, but that's not, but she's saying the top of the field. Like, she's not saying on a road. She's saying the top of the field. The top of the field is the top of the field, the upper field where the cameras are, which can see the front of the gate, which can see the entrance and front of sight. Like, why would somebody say the top of the field on a road? They're not, like, you guys are messing with my brain. Front is road entrance. Triangle. Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree about the whole road entrance one. All I've ever seen is that Allotment Lane cameras and the Rowan Water cameras, this is clearly Rowan Water at the top of the field. So, I mean, I can look into that more, but, I just always feel like things get twisted. So whether I forgot, for instance, yesterday, about the camera, about the Fisherman, because I remember the Fisherman being talked about, but then I was sitting there thinking that Becky had said that they had come for it or whatever, and that they weren't suspicious. Obviously, I didn't hear it clear or listen to it clearly. That's how I feel like about this. Like, why is somebody trying to put me on the opposite side of something that Becky's not clearly talking about? Is how I feel about this. It's been misinfo. Because, I mean, Grizzly got these two cameras from people that live there, right? From people that know Nicola Bulley, and that they did this footage for her so they could show exactly where the camera was working and where the other one wasn't working. And then the other cameras have really no significance. Well, because they're down on Allotment Lane. So it was always said that if the other camera was working, then we would see Nicola Bulley. But of course, it's not working. You see the bushes behind the lady on the Allotment Lane. Yeah, but that's from the allotment. You're talking about the picture there, Angel? The one from Rupert Fletcher's camera. You're talking about that one, right? Because that's the one where the lady in red is walking by, and Rupert Fletcher gave that photo, to the police. That was through his home camera. But that's just Penny should have a CCTV at her house covering the front side gate that would show of Nikki. But that's just it. But that's just it. There's not. That's just it. Those have you guys ever seen someone show cameras from off the caravan site? Like that literally is on the caravan site? Have you guys seen a channel that has showed that ever? Because I personally haven't, because I've never heard of any cameras talked about besides these ones and the allotment lane ones or something like about like off the road there. But it's because there's not. Like, because there is no cameras. And that's why we haven't seen those cameras, because there is no cameras. But these two cameras have been talked about the whole entire time. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's one thing to say it, and then it's another thing, type of thing. Like at least Grizzly, I can only assume that, of course, that whoever gave Grizzly these pictures, well, she had talked about them and said that Nicola's friends had did this up for her, and she shared them with us, type of thing, which I would personally was grateful for, because it gave us a bird's eye view about what this camera was supposed to be seeing and why all over the news it's reported that one camera was working and one camera wasn't. I'm going on what the police just said. Reply it, please. Oh, replay it? Okay. Share. Hold on. Let me do this. Okay. That was it. What time was that one at? That's at the 14:35 spot. Okay, 1 second. Okay, 14.
Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally. The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have...
Aha, see? That enters the field. That enters the field. Haha. Right? I think this is going to be one of those ones that we'll have to agree to disagree. Because she's talking about Rowan Water, top of the field. And then she says, and enters the field. And they're talking about that gate area, because you can't enter the field from the caravan at the back of the site over there. You have to come through the kissing gate still. Okay, you guys, let's move on from this one. Because again, it's probably going to be one where I'm going to sit there and dig my heels in the ground. And the site, well, yeah, the site manager, because they're talking about the cameras up top. Lynn, we're going to have to call a truce on this one. That's why they kept saying, though, but don't you think, like, that's why they kept saying that nobody entered or nobody left that way. And they're talking about that gate at the back of the field that a lot of people thought that Nicola Bulley was abducted from. All right. So again, we're going to move on from this one. I will get you proof. Give me proof, Lynn. Give me proof. I've never seen anybody show any cameras on the caravan site. But she did suggest the cameras are working. Right. She said the cameras were working on that, right? I guess she never talked about the other one. Probably like even if you disagree that those are the cameras because the other one wasn't working. But then again, it's not like one of their own cameras. It was said that something about Rupert's camera or something like that. I don't know. All I'm going to say on this, the last thing I'm going to say on this one, Angel, just is we have never, ever seen cameras ever shown to us. I've never seen it on Grizzly. I've never seen it on any other channel besides on Allotment Lane. There's like some cameras or something like that. And up in the top of Rowan Water up there. Never seen anyone ever say that there's cameras at the caravan site, even though in my head, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, so there's cameras like that are at the caravan site because they're going to try to, have cameras looking over on the site. So I'm thinking, well, is there some cameras down there? Never seen any. Never seen any. Yeah, I don't know. So we're going to have to call a truce on that one. Okay, let's stop looking at this lady and let's go over to the other one. Let's look at Ron. Okay. Yeah, let's go to this one. Because this one has more packed information, especially towards the end. But let's go to the 19-minute mark on this one. 1843, whatever, 1853, good enough. Okay.
Yeah, what was the Teams call about? That starts in a couple of minutes, doesn't it? What was it about?
So this was a Teams call that she would have then logged on to, a work Teams call. The police have actually said that she wasn't speaking. She was just listening. And actually what they said is that while she was walking, she had her phone out in front of her, listening. That was apparently quite normal for Nicola to do. The call would have been on speaker. There would have been other people talking.
Her camera was off?
Her camera was off.
Okay.
And it was just logged on for her to listen, essentially, to what was going on in the call. And that's a really important.
Finance, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was a mortgage advisor. And her dad had actually told us just a few days before she went missing, he was so chuffed because she just, signed off a deal. She was incredibly happy. She was in good spirits.
And had anybody seen her here? Or there were the two sightings, just the other? So just to show you the other side of the field just there, that she'd walked up and then walked round in a big loop, if you will.
Yeah, so just up on this side, someone actually did spot Nicola. A witness spotted Nicola with her dog Willow. They actually then, police spoke to that witness to get more information. They put out a picture of the witness. They got in touch with the witness. They spoke to them and they got some information from the witness just to piece together the timeline of what we're doing this morning. But this is a vast area, as we can see, the lower field, the upper field. It's a normal move. She takes Willow all the way round and her walk would have carried on. I think
River
it would have been
always one side or the other.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, look, you walk with your dogs. She would have taken it nice and easy. She just dropped the kids off to school.
The banks are steep here. It has to be said, and they would have been slippy. But you would have thought most people would be able to get out of that unless there was some way.
With Willow, email sent, maybe phone back in the pocket. Maybe actually, one thing we have noticed, Kate,
1 second, I want to go back to
Nicola
that
and friends
spot.
have told us this. Nicola used to take so many photos.
I want to go back to that spot where he's talking about the hat and the scarf.
When she was out walking,
right?
Her family shared photos with Willow of her to us. So many photos when she'd be out walking. She'd have a Fitbit on.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Although
would track her steps.
Synced up, was it?
No, that wasn't synced up.
So that would have been very useful for the police, but it hadn't been synced up for a few days.
Yeah, and
now
actually,
she's thinking about doing a Teams call.
Well, yeah, a Teams call would have started at around 9 o'clock, so in about 6 minutes' time.
Yeah. So she's thinking about it. It's a work Teams call, and she's thinking, okay, I need to go on that call for 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Meantime, walking by the river with the dog, potentially taking photographs. I don't think she took any that day, did she?
And bitterly cold as well. Remember, you know, Nicola was well kind of padded up with her clothing. She had a full-length black kind of padded jacket on. She had wellies on. She had socks, a hat, a scarf, and, you know, she was well wrapped up because it was bitterly cold.
Okay, so that takes me back to yesterday, guys. Remember when Ernest in that article said, like, you know, it's when he was thinking, like, well, maybe she was abducted. Like, they haven't even come across a scarf or anything, right? And these two people, whatever their names are again, Kay and I always forget his name. I don't know why. Then they had said, like, a hat and a scarf. Well, Ernest Dad's mentioned the scarf as well. And these people have said, you know, like, they've been talking with the family, and, you know, which I'm sure that they have been, because, you know, they've been on the case covering it the whole time. And I'm sure that they, you know, made the connections with the family, talking to them, like they said. So it's kind of like, oh, well, so what? Her hat didn't come off of her head? Her scarf didn't come off of her body? Right? What? Like, so, like, especially the hat. Like, why wouldn't the hat have come off? We all know when a woman's hair is soaking wet. You think a hat's gonna hold on to that? Like, especially in the water? Like something like her type of bobble hat would, like, freaking sink, because it's like you know, like that wool type of hat. And you can just see the start of, oh, hey, Sailor Man. Right, that's the river thing that you're talking about over there. Yeah, so my thing is this. It was always okay. At first I'm thinking, okay, are these two interviewers just like idiots and forgetting what, you know, like parts of the story or whatever? And then I kind of looked at it differently and thought, well, seems like they're getting a little bit more information than just what the news is saying. You know, well, the car keys were found in her pocket, in the jacket. And yep, she's going to the top herself, but first she needs to email her boss and then take teams. Like, and these guys, by the way, these guys are walking like quite briskly. They totally lose track against time. But just think about it. Just think about where they are. They came into the kissing gate at 8:47. It's only 8:54. But they're losing track of their own time, because, and this is what John from Crime Scene to Courtroom meant when he said, Sonny, this field, I don't know how to explain it. It's so dinky. It's so small, you know? And he's like, I wish you could just see it. It's just so small. And that's when I was like, yeah, because I was watching this and I could tell that by how fast they walked around it. And here I thought it was like a bigger area. So it's very deceptive on actually how small this is versus how it looks. Like, even when you're watching them here, it looks a lot bigger than what it seems like, because the time that they actually started walking from the kissing gate was the 47. And it's only, remember how they're tracking their time down here in the left-hand corner? Yeah. And then we'll get to that too, Lynn, about that. But anyways, so, and then another thing that they brought up in here, and I don't feel like looking unless we play it. Well, let's go to are we going to Ron next? Or let's see. Let me just see what they're saying over here. Let me just see what they're saying at this time.
For all different avenues that police are investigating. But she would have spent a good few minutes chatting with that witness that police say has come forward and spoken to them, who had a dog walker who was, knew Willow and knew who Nicola was. And then she carried her walk along to the upper field, where we've just actually come round slightly from. She sent the email to her boss there. Then she would have come further and still on the...
No, she wasn't wearing it getting in the car. Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't think we have a great view of the camera footage. But that's not necessarily to say that she didn't wrap one around her from when she was getting out of the car. like more of the heavier scarf, not just your light scarf around your neck, but more of a heavier scarf and a toque. Maybe when she did get out of the car, she put on her toque, put on her scarf, because it just, I'm just saying that, look, the dad said it, apparently, according to the news media, and then he's actually said the scarf and the hat. So it just makes me like, again, you just have to take it whatever you feel it's worth, right? Because there's no consistencies in this whole freaking thing. So you just got to take it however you visualize it or see it yourself. And then just, use the information, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, at hand. That's the best you can do. Because there's just, honestly, to me, there's just no figuring out exactly truly what happened, because they can't even get their own story straight, let alone the media, can't get the story straight. And then they're saying things, and well, we'll get back to that stuff in a minute. I'll just play some more of this. Come on, mouse.
Up the field, she would have dialed into her Teams call. So that was 9:01, dialing into her meeting with work. And then in a few minutes' time, actually, approximately, police say, because I can't pin exact timing locations, she was then seen by another witness. And that happened roughly, police suggest, at around 9:10. So we're still a few minutes away from that. So it would suggest that actually Nicola's
slowed down here somewhat, hasn't she? Yeah.
And actually, probably, Kay, you've got a dog, as dog walkers do. She's let her dog roam around a bit, off the lead, run around a bit. She's let the kids, drop the kids off at school. She's got a bit of time on her hands, it would suggest. And that's why it's taken, a bit of time for her to make her way round. I think we've had 3 police press conferences now, maybe 4 actually. And every single time they've appealed for more information. People who were driving on Blackpool Lane that morning to come forward with dash cam footage in this time window that we're going through right now. Any other dog walkers that morning who knew what Nicola looked like, who saw her dog Willow, to come forward and just give us some detail of what happened in the 10-minute window, which has currently been unaccounted for. This is a busy dog walking area. There will have been, a number of dog walkers, although, it suggested to me that it was bitterly cold that Friday morning. Yeah. There weren't perhaps as many dog walkers as you would normally suggest. It was incredibly muddy as well, but again...
She'd have been on the call. I'm just trying to think what she would have been doing, She'd have been on the call. She'd have been looking at the river. The snowdrops are just out across the way there. She would have been taking in this beauty spot. She's not from Lancashire originally. She's from Essex, isn't she? And she's moved up to be with her partner, Paul. Paul is absolutely sure that she's not in that river.
Yeah, Paul has said previously, he is 100% sure that she's not in that river. He actually said that he would like police to search, every home, speak to every person in the area, caravan park over there as well. He wants this whole place thoroughly combed. Police say, look, we've done that. We have investigated all the lines of inquiry in this area where we believe she potentially could be.
They've searched 300 properties.
Yeah, so there's 300
abandoned properties. They've searched one across the road 3 times, across the river rather, 3 times.
You can actually see, I don't know if the camera can, a missing woman and 2 girls at home without a mum. And there were, 2 little girls, And people were rocking up here, in their dozens. And it was like Blackpool seafront. It was like a circus at some stage. People filming and, trying to spot Nicola and trying to spot.
For a second, okay. Maybe if they would have cordoned off the area. Oh, I don't know. What a freaking novel idea, eh? They're sitting there bitching about all of that, and yet they allowed people just to keep coming in through the area. Hi, my love. Okay. But right? They're sitting there bitching about the TikTokers and all that. Well, why didn't they just cordon off the area like they should have done in the first place? I'm not in a state. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Yeah. Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, Canada, eh? Yeah. Husband's from the UK, though.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Okay. He denies it. But, right? Okay. I mean, seriously, they sit there and they bitch about it, and yet they're the ones that didn't cordon it off. and they had just allowed people to come and go as they wanted to. So again, they want to blame everybody but themselves for their sloppy work.
Evidence. You know, I think there was one stage where someone called out there was something green in the water. It was a chair that they went, you know, that police ended up pulling out. But, you know, people were coming down here in their absolute numbers to try and get a sense of what had gone on. But I think also it shows the real interest that people have had watching this from wherever they are.
So she walked into the field. She's seen a fellow dog walker who she knows. The dogs have had a little play. They've said their farewells and then moved on, moved into the upper field. She sends an email to her boss,
yep.
And that is fired off. And she continues to walk along the top of this field here, and she starts to join a Teams conversation.
Yep.
The camera's not on, the audio is not on,
yep.
but she is holding it out
and
in
listening.
front of us. And we know that because somebody saw her right now.
Yeah, it was at 9:10 here on the upper field that somebody then saw Nicola, a witness that has been spoken to by police. So 3 weeks ago, let's put this in perspective, 3 weeks ago, 9:10 in the morning,
Here.
Somebody saw Nicola walking with her dog Willow here. That was then interrogated by police. Police put a picture of that witness out, and that witness came forward, spoke to the police, gave as much information as they possibly could. And, you know, that was an important juncture in this because that was the last sighting.
Yeah.
Nicola then carried on with her walk.
Still on the call.
Still on the call, phone out in front of her, call on the speaker, listening to what was being said in this meeting. The thing is now is, you know, we're not actually that far, Kay, from the upper field to the bench further on, and it took
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
From here to, I'm going to say, 150 metres.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
So what's happening?
Well, what has happened in that 10 minutes? And that really is the big question. What police had actually said, you know.
There we go again, talking about that 10 minutes, right? Why? Why do they just keep saying 10 minutes? They said that the phone, first of all, the phone was moving towards the bench, besides Sally Riley, who said it was on the bench at 9:20. Why do they keep only wanting the time between 9:10 and 9:20? Like, I don't absolutely get that. What about the 9:20 to 9:33? Or let's just say if they found the phone at 9:33, then what about till 9:30 at least? So either they're not telling us something, but then they've told the public, well, we got no proof. But why would they limit themselves to when she was on the phone just for data? They can't prove she was on the phone, and that's what they're trying to say. You know, like from 9:10 to 9:20, we know that the phone was moving there, and that's the time we're looking for. What about till 9:30 though? You know, why wouldn't you be looking for a witness that maybe seen her across the river wire on the other side, that possibly seen her at 9:25? You know, like, I just don't get that. That never made sense to me. It didn't dawn on me until later. I'm like, wait, why do they keep saying that? And it irritates me every time I hear it, because it's like, what? So if the phone moved towards the bench at 9:20, so, well, where was Nicola Bulley at 9:21, 22, 23, 24, 25? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Her phone moved towards the bench area. That's what they said.
So they can track that, can they?
Yeah, so with forensics that they've had on the phone, they just said the phone moved towards the bench area. Now, look, you know, I think that's quite unusual language, because that doesn't say, you know, Nicola's taken the phone to the bench. Mm-hmm. That doesn't say, you know, that it was directly placed in her hands into the bench area. It just said that the phone was moved towards the bench area, and that was between 9:10, someone seeing her on the upper field, to 9:20. That's where the phone was moved to, and actually subsequently left, all while still logged on this Teams call, a meeting.
So she's not walking all this time, obviously, because it's not a very far distance for her to move.
No, and, you know, maybe the dog is running around. Remember the dog off the lead running around. She's perhaps Willow has gone off somewhere. She's calling Willow, maybe.
Here
But
comes Ron.
you know, she's not moving quickly. We can safely say that, because the upper field to the bench ain't really that far.
Yeah, doggy coming.
Yeah.
And you know,
Hello,
just to illustrate,
sir.
you know, that this is where the dog walkers come all the time.
Yeah.
Her partner came along, Paul, and he's retraced these steps many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and he came down pretty much straight away. You know, he wanted to see.
Okay, before I finish playing the rest of this, this is for all those people that keep posting that 933, Pincho, you're one of them, and is amongst other ones, okay? I want you to listen very carefully, because at no point does Ron say that, yes, at 9:33 I was talking to my wife. The only person that even talks about the time is the reporter dude who says, and you arrived when? About 9:30? And then he said, and then he didn't even answer yes or anything to that. But people keep wanting to say, and even in the media articles, okay, they took that and twisted that to say at 9:30 for Ron. And I was looking at that in some of the articles yesterday, and I was just like, see, even the media took that and twisted it. This is not the police statement video. This is Sky News video. But you've never been able to produce me what you're talking about. Right? So at the end of the day, in this particular video, Ron says no such thing.
What was the scene like? What happened here straight away? Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Come on
Fine,
through.
do come
How
through.
are you?
No, not at all.
Good to see you.
Do you live here?
Well, it has been like that. So you actually saw the phone, is that right? Yeah. You saw the phone that Friday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police.
Yeah.
See? Now it's about 9:30. I gave a full statement to the police. He doesn't say yes. He doesn't say anything. You know, just want people to hear things as they're said and not misinterpret those words right there, because this was a big thing yesterday, a little bit. But I noticed that the news articles were putting it for 9:30, but no, the news anchor guy said that. But then the news articles twisted it to say like at 9:30 that he basically had said it. Whoops. Carry on, Sonny.
Yeah. With the exact time, because my wife's telephone call had the time on it, so but I've given a full statement.
Yeah.
Was it just on the bench? Or was it just on the bench?
The phone?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Pincho, I have something to say to you on this. You can't keep telling me that it's on a different video, though, and not provide proof. If you saw it on a different video, then send it to my email, right? You can't just say it and not have proof to back that up. Nobody else has heard what you're talking about. So if you're going to say don't use Sky Video, right, then give me the video that actually has it where Ron says at 9:33. Because 9:33, everyone knows, is when the phone is said to have been on the bench. I don't know how many times I could say that, 1,000 ways. If you got proof, well, you can tell me all you want. But if you don't have something to send me to back up what you're saying, then it becomes null and void. Because nobody else has heard that same thing, Pincho. You must understand what I'm saying, obviously.
Yeah. How's the last 3 weeks been?
Oh, I hear my cat wanting to
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. My cat wants out. So we're gonna when you guys get to this part coming up again, I will never send you the video. You joined the Nicola Bulley case very late. I didn't join the Nicola Bulley. What are you even doing in here then, Pincho, if that's your attitude? if honestly, if that's your attitude, then why don't you just leave? Because that's pretty ignorant considering I didn't join the Nicola Bulley case late. Thank you very much. I actually knew of it from the start and I was following it. That doesn't mean I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. It was only within what, like a week and a half. I don't know. Go back and look at my videos, but don't be ignorant to me, dude. See, okay. If you have something to say and you have proof, how hard is that? You can't keep quoting something and not send someone something to prove it. No, he's not winding me up, William. Nobody actually winds me up, to be honest. It's more about stupidity. And the stupidity of it is, don't keep saying you have this information, but you got nothing to back it up. And nobody else has even heard of it. I think he's a troll. No, he doesn't listen, first of all. And he can just, here, let me help you. Let me help you, Pincho. I'll block you. Does that make it all better? Dude, I give you so many chances. Anyways, I don't got time for that type of stupidity. Like, if you have something, then prove it. But quit saying it in chat. And then go, I'm not going to send you it because you started the Nicola Bulley. They're like, shut up. Okay. Anyways, you guys. So, and don't worry, guys. Nothing ever really winds me up, right? I mean, we're here for a good time, not a long time at the end of the day. That stuff really doesn't bug me. Because there's so many other people that, you know, want to just listen or say something. Anyways, right. We can all have our difference of our opinions. Absolutely. So, in this part right here, you guys, I want you guys to really listen to when Ron starts talking about Penny, okay? Because in the rest of this video, and we'll get back to that part, Caroline, when they're talking about the like, say the lead and whatever and stuff like that. But when he starts talking about Penny, about the dog running, or about Penny tying up the dog, I'm going to probably play it a couple times because it's like he says, because the dog's as if to finish off a sentence to say running around, but he just absolutely trails off and doesn't complete his sentence. But we've seen him do that already with the caravan site and going to the bathroom as well. No, I don't have time for that stuff. If you want to say something ignorant to me like that about that you're not going to send me something because I followed the case like a week or so later, that's just ignorant. And I don't need that type of person in here. You know, go peddle your 933 theory somewhere else.
And in terms of, you know, when you saw Phone, Lead, and Willow, who you knew who Nicola was.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you knew Willow. That was it, wasn't it? You knew Willow.
I knew I'd seen both the owners of Willow walking this dog in the past. But whilst I knew them by face, like I know your face, I didn't know the name.
Yeah. But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the Phone, the Lead, and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I thought somebody had gone to the toilet in the. You know, that would have been my first. I got about this red brick building here, and I thought this is not right. And then there was a conversation. But my wife was trying to ring me. I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife. To say that she'd fastened the dog up. That was.
See, did you guys hear that? That was rough. Okay, I mean, I'll play it again, but he never finished off a sentence. But he goes, "That was rough," and then he just goes, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you know, that would have been my first. I got about this red brick building here, and I thought this is not right. And then there was a conversation. But my wife was trying to ring me. I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife. To say that she'd fastened the dog up. That was.
And Penny was.
That was rough. That was, and then, you know, did you guys heard that? Yeah. Like, I just wanted to point out that because it's like, you know, that was rough. And then, like I said, as we play the video, then again, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, we'll just finish it.
Lady who actually spotted Willow initially and saw the Phone, but didn't know what was going on with the Phone.
That's right. Yeah.
And then after that, you know, What happened?
Well,
what were the next steps?
It was just a progression of things happening. You know, we found out because of the wallpaper on the phone. We found out who the couple were. Then the school was contacted, and Paul arrived.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll let you carry on with your walk. I know you do this every morning. Yeah. Nicola did this almost every morning as well.
Probably, yeah.
We're retracing those steps this time 3 weeks ago. Yeah. So an important
I know.
juncture. Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
All the best.
Thank you.
I mean, how important is that? You know, someone who...
So
part of me was thinking the same thing a bit there, Transporter. It's kind of, I kind of felt the same way a bit, like, dude, well, the reason why I'm saying this is because this is what you kind of told me the other day. I kind of took it as part of that as well.
He doesn't walk about the same time every day, doesn't he? Yeah.
And one of the first people who actually spotted, you know, the phone on the bench, who was contacted by the lady who saw it first. He came down here, he saw the wallpaper, he saw a picture of who was on there, and then they knew.
Then they contacted the school, because they must have figured that the kids were at that school.
Yeah, and that would have been the first contact, and then police would have been informed, and then the search operation
And because she was high risk, they reacted quickly.
Yeah, that was actually something that they said initially when they spoke to her partner Paul. They found out that he was that Nicola was high risk, that she had specific vulnerabilities. They then categorised her as high risk, and then they're like, okay.
And that's because of what had happened previously. The police had been called, hadn't they?
Yeah, it was 17 days before, actually, the 27th of January, so the 10th of January. Police had gone round to Nicola and Paul's home because they had reports of concerns for welfare. And so, look, straight away, when that is taken into account, police said to me that rings alarm bells. You know, that really does ring alarm bells. And straight away, Nicola is categorised as high risk.
Just tell us what happened when the police were called.
Well, the details are limited, Kay, but what police have said, it was 10th of January, they received those calls. They went round with health professionals, they say, medical professionals. Not entirely sure what kind of triage team that is, but they go to the house. No one was arrested at the time on these, you know, concerns for welfare. But what they have said is that they are continuing to investigate.
Well, we're going to finish this one out. It goes to 55 minutes and it's at 38. Because, yeah, at the end, as they're talking now and towards the end, like that's really the crap that I really want to get to towards the end here. But I found it funny how he was talking about like Nicola Bulley's January 10th thing. And then he's like, and no one was arrested, you know, and I'm like, well, okay, why would somebody be arrested? Was it domestic abuse or like, what do you mean nobody was arrested? It's just a mental health check, you know? So I was kind of going, like, I know that people have talked about this, but it was like, I just struck me odd when he was like, oh, no one was arrested. So was there domestic abuse going on?
What happened on that day, 17 days before Nicola went missing?
I'm just looking around as you're chatting to me, and I just look, you know, there's nothing about this space that makes you think that someone would have disappeared here.
And I think that's the real shock to this community and to, you know, people like Ron the dog walker that we just spoke to. A real shock. How on earth has, you know, the nation's eyes descended on this small, quaint village in Lancashire after a missing mum of two? You know, how has that happened? How is that even possible? And it's still, you know, 3 weeks on, no clues, no evidence. There was a whopping question mark over what on earth happened 3 weeks ago this morning.
Excuse me. So she's walking, it's slippy. It would have been slippy when she was here.
She was in wellies as well.
Yeah, which would have been tricky to walk in. She's done the loop, she's done the lower field, she's done the upper field. She's spoken to the boss. She sent an email to her boss. Yeah. She's still got her phone in front of her. Still
on the Teams call. Well, it's in this time now between 9:10 of the witness spotting Nicola and moving to the bench. It's this 10-minute window where police, the words from police are, her phone moved towards the bench area. So how did it travel to the bench area? That's a big question. We still don't exactly know
Let's go
that.
this way.
And then this is the river bank.
We wander down this way. So this is the bank. A lot of people have been asking about the bank and how steep it is. Doesn't look that steep, does it?
No, it doesn't in some areas, but if all the way to the bank, no, it doesn't. But then if you look further down, Kay, there is a bit of a drop.
Are you comfortable going down there?
There is a bit of a drop down there. And look, it's muddy, so please be very careful. It's muddy and slippy, and it would have been probably even muddier at the time. A lot of people have trampled on here in the 3 weeks since Nicola's been missing. A lot of people have gone down to peep over the bank and see if they can spot anything. Police have been down here as well.
It is slippy, yeah.
Police have also, with divers and drones and underwater cameras have all been down here. But clearly a bit of a drop off from the bank down there. So if we move back up.
Yeah, and so this is the part of the river where the police think that she has gone into the water. There's no sign here at all of any scuffs or whatever. Yeah. But this is where her phone is found.
Yeah, well look, it's 9:20 right now.
Yeah.
9:20, 3 weeks ago, Nicola's phone had moved to this bench. And this is what police say. It was here that her phone had ended up. I'm not entirely sure exactly where it was placed, but her phone was on a bench.
Yeah.
Here. And that's where the team calls. It was still ongoing, by the way. It was on speaker. She hadn't spoken in it. She hadn't got her camera on, but the phone was on the bench here.
And then the dog walker that we just saw. Did you say his name was Ron?
Yes, Ron. But I mean, that comes later on, actually, because Ron was, he was one of the first people to notice what had gone on here in terms of the phone, the lead, and the dog. There was actually another lady who owns a caravan park here.
I'm going to stop it here because this is where we're going to start listening very carefully to the shit that's been being said, okay? So keep in mind that Ron has just finished saying that Penny said to tie up the dog, because it's rough, right? And I'm just going to complete it. He was going to say running. Okay, what else word are you going to say? He was running, right? But anyway, so listen to this part and especially listen to the part when they start talking about the phone being unlocked and then locked again.
Here, she was the first person to notice Willow scurrying between the bench and the kissing gate just there. But it was 9:20, so around this time, the phone's still on speaker, the Teams call still going, a Teams call with her work. She was a mortgage advisor. She just, got a mortgage deal just a few days ago. Her parents told her she was, in good spirits about work. She sent an email to her boss earlier that morning, and this is where she ended up. Well, this is where the phone ended up, is what police.
This has never been cordoned off.
No, and look, that's a really big talking point and has been a huge talking point.
Why was it not cordoned off?
There's lots of questions around that. Straight away, police said that she was high risk, that she was a missing person. So there are big questions as to why there wasn't a cordon around here. There was huge questions because it enabled people, and we've seen dozens and dozens and dozens of people, to come here, sit on the bench, walk down to the bank, and trample over essentially evidence.
Let's just talk about this because this is the spot, isn't it? The police think she's gone into the water there. They have searched this river beneath. They've had divers, they've had all sorts of people here to try to find out what's gone on. They think that she is in the water. Her partner and the family think that that is not what she would have done. She just would not have gone into the water. Her phone's here. The dog is running around. But I know there's a gentleman standing there, but I just wanted to illustrate the kissing gate being just there. There we go. He's just moved it off. Kissing gate's there. That stretch there that we walked down about 40 minutes ago doesn't have any CCTV.
No.
You guys look down the path there. You see like the red and a yellow dog down at the end there. Kind of was looking at that yesterday when I was re-going over this one.
It doesn't. So what happened in this 10 minutes? This is the big question. This is the vital 10 minutes that we're in right now, that police are trying to understand what happened from 9:20, when Nicola's phone ended up at this bench, still logged into that Teams call, to 9:30, when that Teams call ended, but Nicola stayed logged in. That is a real crucial 10-minute window that police are trying to establish. What could have happened? Right, what are the options? Nicola, as police believe, could have ended up in the River Wire. How she got there is the big question. Why she went in there is the other big question. Nicola, the other hypothesis, working hypothesis that police are keeping an open mind to, they tell us, that but believe did not happen. There could have been some third-party involvement, some criminality.
They don't think a crime's...
They don't think so,
no.
but it's a hypothesis that they have to, you know, keep on their radar and keep investigating. The third option is, as you mentioned, Nicola could have gone through the kissing gate, down the path, the river path, and out next to Blackpool Lane. If she turned right, the CCTV camera would have spotted her. So police are clear she did not go out that path onto that busy road and turn right. If she turned left, however,
Which was back to the car.
Yes, towards the church and towards the school. There is no CCTV yet that they've established, or dashcam footage that has spotted her. So that is also a bit of a blind spot at the minute for police. So there are two kind of hypotheses that they are working on. One is the main one, that she ended up in the river. The other one is that potential blind spot of if she turned left when coming out of the river path. But another thing police have always said throughout all this, they believe that Nicola did not leave this area, that she did not leave the fields. That is why they are working on that main hypothesis that she ended up into what is a cold, a very deep, and in some parts, a very fast-flowing river.
I just can't get over the setting, really, and the fact that a crime could have potentially have been committed here. And I can't comprehend that a dog owner would leave the dog here and walk up that path.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot of different, you know, arguments and ideas, and people even telling us this morning in the program that if Nicola had gone in the water, the dog probably would have followed. This is a dog that swims. We've actually seen images of Willow, the dog, wet and in water before. So we know that the dog wouldn't have been afraid to go into the water.
Just to say, we're just seeing Ron go now, and we saw where we picked him up. So it gives you an idea that it's quite a short loop here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite a short loop. I mean, I think Ron's joined us straight down the path and come back up. I mean, but Nicola's, you know, walk around wasn't that, you know, that long.
No.
It wasn't a huge distance. But again, it comes back to the question: what was her frame of mind that morning, Kay? What was she feeling? What was she thinking? I'm sure all that kind of stuff, you know, affects the way you walk, the way that you are in a morning. You know, was she walking quickly? Clearly not, because it's taken a long time. She was taking her time, sending emails on a Teams call. That Teams call's still ongoing right now. This time, 3 weeks ago.
Until 9:30. The police have debunked some of the ridiculous rumours about the fishermen covering their faces, and there was a van that they wanted to talk about. But they do want more CCTV. 700 vehicles so far?
Yeah, it's dash cam footage, which is vital. You're right.
Not sure how they can really debunk them when they never came forward, at least that we knew of as of that press conference. So I feel like that information that they're putting out there is wrong, because we know nothing about them coming forward to be able to debunk it.
look, there's been so many different theories, and police coming out on the 14th of Feb with the Assistant Chief Constable, with the Senior Investigating Officer for the first time in this case. We saw her, and they were adamant that wanted to dispel a lot of those theories from people, namely, who hadn't come down to the scene. And that was a clear aim for them on the 14th. They came out in force and they wanted to dispel those theories. I think they did that. I think that's fair to say. And it drew people back to, right, what is their main working hypothesis now? But obviously in that press conference as well.
Only because you said that John's name. You guys know that John from Crime Scene to Courtroom, that we are good friends now, and he's just a really great guy. So of course, for some of you that don't know, John had to put Harvey down the other day. And so he's very, very sad and heartbroken and devastated at the moment. So he's just, like any pet owner who loses their animal that they've had for years. So I want to say from, of course, myself personally, and it's a crime and shame. And John, he knows, because I talk to him still each day, a couple times at least, or a few times. And I just want you guys to make sure you guys give him any hearts and compassion and, just the love out there between creators, because everyone knows, again, that when you have an animal, how much they mean to you. So prayers go out to John as he's going through this really rough time right now and losing a very much of a staple to him and to the channel. And I'm sure that anyone, because John's, for the most part, newer to me, but a lot of you guys have been following John, that know that Harvey's, you guys know, right? You don't even have to say it. Your pet means everything to you. I'm sorry guys, but they're better than humans, really. They don't lip you off. They might lick your face, but they love you unconditionally, and it's really hard when you lose such a great friend. So I just want to say that for John, because again, he could just use people's support right now. Best wishes, and not best wishes, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. So anyways, let's go finish watching this.
We heard, the kind of shock bombshell, really, that Nicola, had specific vulnerabilities, and that she, was high risk that morning.
And the Home Secretary wants Lancashire Police to explain why they've talked about alcoholism or misuse of alcohol, shall we say, and also the menopause. What's that got to do with it? Yeah. So from when we arrived here, we were telling you about the phone on the bench, which was about 9:10.
It was about 20 past 9.
20
the phone
past 9. So there's
bench.
there's 10 minutes now. So the 10 minutes we've been standing here, something has happened.
Yeah. And that's the big question.
And that's the 10 minutes where she's disappeared.
That is what police are trying to identify. Her phone was on the bench. Did Nikki sit on the bench? Did she take some time out, sat on the bench? Was her dog Willow roaming around? Was he near the water's edge?
Okay, so I'll just pause it there. We're getting into this part about the phone and the lead and stuff like that, because again, it's the inconsistencies. We've heard it where the lead was attached to the harness. We've heard it where that there was no lead, but we've heard Rebecca Smith in the same sentence talk about the lead and the harness. And then we've heard her talk about just the harness by itself. And bottom line is, you know what, we'll get into this conversation in a minute, and we'll go back to exactly what Caroline said, which is exactly what I was going to bring up, about the lead versus Penny tying a dog up, right? Because if there's a friggin' lead there, why would you need to tie a dog up? But here, Ron is just saying that Penny said to tie the dog up. So how would Penny know if the dog was running loose if she had tied the dog up? That doesn't make sense at all. And if there's a lead there, well, you would have either freaking put the dog on the lead, took the dog home, whatever, or something, or You know what I mean? If you were so worried. But anyways, we'll just finish watching this out because we're going to hear about that stuff.
Edge, you know, did he go towards the bank? Was he having a look over in the water? Nikki's phone was placed on the bench. She was still listening to that team's call. But what happened in that 10 minutes?
But we don't know if she was there.
That is the big question. The phone was there.
Yeah.
Police are adamant the phone was there, but where was Nikki? Where was Nicola Bulley in that 10 minutes 3 weeks ago today? And that's a question that police are really just trying to answer. But it's, you know, it's not as if this place is scattered with CCTV. We're in, you know, a big field next to a river.
Such a small area. So Ron, who we just chatted to, he saw the dog running around. He saw the phone on the bench, and there was literally no sign whatsoever of Nicola. He saw the screenshot on the front, the wallpaper on the front of the phone, recognised them, went to the school, alerted the school, who got Paul, her partner, who came down very quickly, and then the search began.
Yeah, and
3 weeks later.
And essentially, you know, that search kicked into action straight away by Lancashire Police, excuse me, and you know they really brought in a lot of specialists to try and search for Nicola Bulley. It was my understanding that actually that search reduced over the last few days or so, but we're at a very important juncture right now. Okay, it's 9:30.
It had been a 30-minute team call. That ended. She'd logged on about 9:01. It had obviously started at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But she stayed logged on.
So police say that the team's call ended 9:30. But Nicola's phone remained logged on to that team's call. In other words, she hadn't ended the call. It was still on there. The phone was on the bench. Where was Nicola? The phone was still unlocked.
Okay, so you guys hear what he said there? Okay, the phone was still unlocked is what he's saying there.
The phone was discovered then in 2 minutes' time or so. But again, it was what had happened in that 10-minute window. The phone was here, but the call was logged on. No one had cut it off.
Yeah. Yeah, and the dog was here as well. And as we said, the dog walker, Ron, who we spoke to, was one of the first here.
He was.
And he knew who the phone belonged to.
Yeah, so what actually happened then in the minutes after that team call ended, a nearby resident lives in the house just around the corner here. She was walking her dogs and had noticed Willow was scurrying between the bench here and the kissing gate. That's what this dog walker had noticed. What she then did, she actually got a bit of string, she told me, and tied Willow up to the leg of the bench.
Yeah.
Just to...
Okay. So she actually got a piece of string and tied Willow up to the bench. She told me. Right? So, first of all, why would you need a piece of string if there is a lead there? So it's just one big circle. Well, Ron just finished telling you that Penny said to tie up the dog because it was running loose. So if she tied the dog to the bench, how can that make sense what Ron said? And then where's the lead? Because they've talked about the lead multiple times in the press conferences. And they've also not talked about the lead. And then it was said, and I believe it was on Grizzly 2 Crime, that the lead was attached to the harness. And then there's people out there saying that there wasn't even a collar on frigging the dog. Now, I personally don't know, because you guys, listen. How can you make sense of any of that? If the phone is unlocked, either these are the two biggest freaking idiots, Penny and Ron, and they don't know how to freaking pick up a phone when it's ringing or pick up a phone that's unlocked. You know, or there's a collar on the dog with the number. Like, And then somebody's saying that the collar wasn't even on the dog. Well, the collar is definitely not on the harness. I can't see why somebody would take the collar off of a dog. Like, because how would you tie, if you were to tie the dog up with a piece of string, what are you going to do? Tie it around its freaking neck and choke the dog while you go off to some sort of perhaps appointment or go back home? So how can all of that stuff be true? But then listen to what Doofus says about the phone again.
Stop her running around.
Yeah.
She saw that the lead was on the harness, was on the floor. She noticed her phone was on the bench. She then contacted some of her friends to try and understand what to do next. And then Ron, who we spoke to earlier, was the second person to come along and see absolutely everything that was left here. The phone, the lead, and Willow tied up to the bench. And then that's when things really started to get into action, because yes, they noticed that the phone was still unlocked. Ron spoke to his wife.
He thought someone had gone to the loo, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually said, he thought someone had nipped off over there, gone to the loo, left the dog, tied up. And,
yeah.
But actually, when they saw on the lock screen of Nikki's phone...
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did he just say when they saw in the lock screen of Nikki's phone? I mean, I feel like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 idiots that have totally messed up this entire whole thing. None, like, how could all of that make sense? How can you even try to make sense out of all that bullcrap that you just heard? Right? So Ron just finished saying to Doofus, how come he didn't point that out, that Ron just finished saying that the dog was loose and that Penny, was said, don't forget to tie up the dog because it's, and then he went to say running, loose. And then he's over here in that same freaking interview going, yeah, well, the dog was tied up to the bench. Okay, well, again, where's the lead and who has the string just in their freaking ass pocket? I think I'm just going to tie up, and if somebody takes off the collar, even if it has Dorothy's name on it, which I don't know still, I'll have to look at it myself, but let's just say it does. There was still a phone number there on it. So if they have an unlocked phone, right? If the phone is unlocked. So this is what I can see because I have an iPhone. And let's see if you guys agree with me. So if I'm in a call and the call hasn't ended, okay? And then I'm playing around with the phone, basically, and then I go to the home screen. Well, even if I go to the home screen, if I'm in a phone call, it's not putting me in the lock position. I can see my husband in my screensaver because I have a picture of me and my husband, just like Nicola and Paul. Nicola's phone had Paul and whatever. But if I exit something, it's not like it's taking me right out to, if I hit the home button, it's not taking me right to my screensaver. Well, it's taking me to my screensaver, and I have a lock on my phone. I guess it depends, how fast somebody puts that lock screen for timing on their thing. But so you have an unlocked phone, Penny and Ron, and neither of their darn dumbasses think to freaking, hey, let me just, it's an unlocked phone here, and let's see if Penny doesn't have a phone. Oh, look at Penny. You have a phone right there on the bench that you could pick up in your hands. You could look at a phone number on a dog tag that has a phone number on it, I guess, but obviously you couldn't remember the phone number when you got home. And like I said, what makes sense? Good night, Puncture. She had ended the Zoom call so it wouldn't be locked. Well, that's just the thing. He says that it's unlocked, and then he says that he looked on the locked and saw the screensaver. So basically, it's to say that the phone was open, and it's almost like to say that they were hitting around the buttons, and then from the screensaver, the phone got locked. In a sense, after they obviously maybe, I don't know, that it went into the lock position again. But like, how do you even make sense out of any of that? Because not only is it said that Penny called the police Well, why didn't Rebecca Smith ever say that we were alerted by the police by, someone that was at the park and then Paul had whatever? She didn't say anything about that. So why didn't we hear about any police call? But yet in certain interviews, now you guys have to remember, people carry stories over to the other newspapers, even though the Mirror might have reported on it first. Another story carries it over and takes the same freaking story and uses it for their thing because they have that whole little freaking news media stuff going on, right? So you might see it in that paper, and that paper, but it's still the same darn story. So, and the thing is that I don't fully want to discredit, Tweedledee and Tweedledummer here, but I think the lady in the red K, definitely that guy that's holding his phone in the blue, whatever, black jacket there, he has a more of a grasp on the case because he constantly has corrected Kay on certain things throughout this interview or whatever. He seems to have a better grasp. But the thing is, again, I mean, like, how did he not even remember that he literally just finished saying the dog's loose? So how can the dog possibly be tied? Like, what? You think that Penny went out, came back in, tied up the dog, went back to her home, then Ron comes traipsing along, sees the phone himself, all by himself and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense, all of it. That whole scenario around the bench and the phone. And why don't they say from 9:10 to 9:33? That's exactly when they don't have any time of Nicola. The only reason why they're placing time on Nicola is because of the two witnesses that they say is in the 847. And maybe the 847 witness is the same darn witness that's 850, that the upper field one as well. I mean, it's such a small field. And then they use the word, and then when she was walking this way, again, the witness. So it could have been the same darn witness, maybe that's seen her. Who knows? I don't even know anymore, to be honest with you. It's so convoluted with a bunch of crap. And just like this whole thing here, how do you can't make sense out of that type of shit unless you, hey, Penny, shut your pie hole and just frickin' talk to me, okay? Talk to Stephen Smith, give him a frickin' rental at your caravan or something, just that would have quashed you guys. They could have easily have quashed rumors if they just would have been more consistent with their inconsistencies. Kate was there that day. He was there from the start. Yeah, okay. Is that what it was? Us armchair detectives need to stop assuming. Stick to the facts. Stop watching Mel Goes elsewhere. Hey, right. Police themselves were speculating right from the start. They didn't know what happened to Nicola, right? They just speculated that she went into the water because they couldn't tell you anything different. That was the stupidest thing that they did. Well, our working hypothesis is we don't got nothing to show you. All I'm saying is that this is why I wanted to go over with this one today, especially, that he's talking about the phone being unlocked. And then the lock position, they saw the screensaver. That the dog, that he talked to Penny and she tied up the dog. But then how does Ron sentence? I mean, they're related, right? You're talking about freaking brother-in-law, sister-in-law. So, how do you make sense of it? That's all I'm saying, right? I don't know exactly what happened to Nicola Bulley. Couldn't even tell you who the freaking witnesses are. Mr. Fluffy White Dog has been placed in the upper field and it was replaced by a female. And Fluffy White Dog was said to have not even seen her. Then that, see, and on, you guys know, like on this one right here, right? On, let me just go back to this for a second here. One sec. Let me just pull it up. Okay, right? Person 3, this is from Grizzly True Crime. Person 1 was a dog walker, 847. Person 2 was a female dog walker. Right. Okay. Is it the same person? I don't know. Person 3, elderly man with white fluffy dog. Okay. His name is Keith Barlow. Keith Barlow's wife's name is Hillary Barlow, who's the one that spoke for her husband. And Caravan Park lady tying Willow up says about 3 people in the field that day. Now, I recall Hillary saying, besides the fact that including her husband, there was, him and 2 other people in the field. But again, maybe he still didn't witness Nicola Bulley like it was thought to have. And maybe that's why Isla kind of retracted her whole stuff, because another witness saw Nicola Bulley after the fact and it wasn't Mr. Fluffy White Guy. But this one says, sees Caravan Park lady tying Willow up. Well, if he never spoke, and I don't recall his wife saying that, but I don't know. But if he never spoke and his wife spoke for him, and I don't recall anything about tying the dog up, that he was there. But how does that become true? If Ron said, Penny said about tying the dog up, Ron's just not going to pull that out of his butt. So, and if there's a leash there, why would you need to tie him up? Because there's a freaking leash there. So is there a leash there? Or is there not a leash there? Why do they not try and get dash cam from Hall-Lane? They were trying to. I mean, they said that they didn't have any dash cam from the school up until that that whole area there. But they were trying to get dash cam. I remember Rebecca Smith talking about that. I want to use my wrench, Shelly. I shouldn't laugh. Sorry, rest in peace, Nicola. But you have to admit, this is so much. It kind of is. I mean, there's nothing we can do about poor Nicola. Life dealt her crappy cards, whichever way it happened. And her daughters and the family are the ones that have to, sadly suffer through this. But I mean, okay, meaning the stuff that I'm showing you guys. This isn't web sleuths. Without web sleuths, interjecting and adding more to it and that, this is legit stuff from news media and the police themselves. This isn't me trying to sit there and say, hey, listen to my weird theory and let me throw in a couple extra adventures in it. This is literally off of the media and the police. And just how ridiculous the inconsistencies are. You can't make hide nor hair of that. So who's right? Did Penny tie up the dog? Is it true? But then she come and untied it, or some ghost untied it, and then Ron came by and it was, because Ron already said that he came in through the gate and the dog was run, So how could the dog have been tied up? How would Penny know to tell Ron to tie the dog back up? If she had tied it, did she use her crystal frickin' ball and say, hey, Ron, I kind of think that the dog's running loose now, so, you might as well tie him up. And there's what? Leash, no leash? Phone locked, phone unlocked? Give me a break, right? That's all I'm saying, people. But do you know what I'm saying, right? How do you make sense? Here, hold on. I mean, how do you make sense out of shit, right? The manure just keeps stacking higher and higher every time you look at this thing. And there's my husband laughing in the background. But, right? You can't make, all you can make out of this whole shit is cow pies. That's about it. Because there's no really truly understanding it. Because there's no real base to start from. I mean, they can't even show you anything that proved, besides the camera of her leaving home, there's nothing else to show besides that they've said that there's some witnesses that have confirmed that it's Nicola. Okay. Again, but you're selling us lots of blank air, basically. Shelly, are you trying to use your wrench on me, Shelly? Because I got a little bit more superpowers than just a wrench. Oh, I see what you're saying. Shelly, you're trying to think about that story you told in the last live. Yeah. That's that right. That's what you're going by. It was a very impressive story, Shelly. Thank you. But anyways, I'm going to get going in a couple minutes. Does anyone have anything at all that you want to say? I still have a live to do for our members. Oh, which reminds me, I probably should play Aspen's video that I think he put out, but let me just see if it has music to it. Talk amongst yourselves for just a second. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. That video is too blurry. But anyways, if you guys follow the Delphi case, is anybody in here? You guys, okay? Because you UK people have to like some these US cases are pretty darn exciting as well in a sense. Do you guys follow the Delphi one, Kagan Klein one? Any of you guys? Yeah, because Aspen Connor, you guys know that he's the co-host of this channel. I guess on his channel he has an exclusive content from Kagan Klein. So apparently Kagan Klein's been texting him back. You need an adjustable wrench. Shelly needs one of these ones. One right over the heads. I got the wrong bag of Jolly Ranchers. Ugh. What did you say? Anyone that's not a member should consider joining. Oh, there you go, Ray. Ray actually became a member. How long did it take you, Ray? It took a little smack and a punch and a kiss and a, Jolly Rancher. Yeah, one second. Let's see here. Switch account. No, I don't want to switch account. It's not what I want to do. I really got to work on my other accounts, leaving them stagnant. Oh my goodness. I never went and checked my email. Hold on a second. Let me quickly go back for a second. I need to go check my email. I remember there was Kate that sent me something. But let's see. Okay, let me just see what this is. Okay, my bad. Let me show something first. Okay, you guys. Breaking news from, I think it was Kate. Who is it that sent that to me? In here, I think it was Kat. Okay, but anyways, let me bring it into here. Okay, so let's see what this says. Okay, so this says, I said the other day my auntie lives in St. Michael's. Turns out it was her that found her phone and her dog. She initially left the phone as she thought it may belong to someone fishing somewhere on the river. Well, that might make sense, I suppose. Leave your dog there too. It was only when another dog walker turned up and recognized the dog that they had contacted her husband. Okay, well that must be they're referring to Anne Marie Fletcher at that point. So I said the other day my auntie lives in St. Michael's. Turns out it was her that found her phone and dog. So did that whole auntie thing get switched into that it was Paul Ansel being the auntie or something? Because that lady is clearly not Paul Ansel. Let's say she initially left the phone. Okay, so the other day my auntie lives in St. Michael's. Turns out it was her that found the phone. So I'm meaning Penny Fletcher. She left the phone and she thought it may belong to someone fishing somewhere on the river. It was the only when the dog walker turned up and recognized the phone that they contacted her husband. Okay, so that to me refers to this, that Penny's, someone that's a auntie to Penny, this whoever that chick is up in the green shirt, like I said, is saying that Penny found the phone, and that basically when Anne Marie Fletcher came along, which we basically kind of knew, that basically that's when they contacted her husband. So that's kind of regurgitated information, really, because it's not really how it went down, you know. But that would make sense a little bit if somebody thought that their phone was on the bench because somebody was fishing. I could understand that the person's like not going to want to take the phone, perhaps, because they're kind of going, well, you know, is there somebody around here that is fishing? You know, seems a little odd. You know, I can understand that. Someone said that the phone was initially on the ground. Yeah, we only ever heard that once, Carolyn. We only ever heard that once, Carolyn. 1 second. Adam's trying to talk to me. Okay, hold on. Such a subtle. The first one, Adam. First one. 1 second. Okay, hold on, you guys. Sorry. It's Adam. You guys just stick around for a second. Can you guys hear him? Bing, bing. Okay, so hold on a second. Am I allowed to say? I'm sorry, guys. Just checking with Adam on something. Oh, he's such a princess. Come on, Adam. I was going to tell you what I said, but I'll wait till tonight. Yeah, I'm going to reschedule it, and then we can talk about it on the live tonight. Okay. All right. So on the members live. Oh, okay. I better turn that off. You guys are going to get irritated by it. Sound good? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me, what was I doing, you guys? Right. Oh, right. Righto. 1 second here. Okay. So, content earned, memberships. Okay. Links to share. All right, you guys. Come on. I want everyone in this live to fork up $1.99 and become a member. Or you don't have to. Anyways, so Anya and Kevin will be talking about it in tonight's live. They're from the Murder Sheets, of course, and Adam has talked to them before. I've spoken to them through email a couple times. But anyways, it's a Kagan Klein exclusive. So apparently Kagan Klein has been messaging, with Adam. And so I guess Anya and Kevin are going to be joining. So Aspen Connor, like I said, he has his channel, which is Aspen Connor. And then there's this one, which it's me and Aspen. So it's kind of like his channel I want him to grow as well, right? Because it's kind of like, well, it's the only smart thing to do, right? If you have a channel, then you might as well, grow it as well. But anyways, so that we'll be talking about that stuff tonight and Koberger stuff. If Alexa can join us, then we'll have Profiler Alexa on as well to talk about Brian Koberger and his different movements and traits. And well, she's Geraldine. She's saying that her auntie, which is Penny, maybe is that where it got twisted around? Is that where it got twisted around, you guys, about Paul? That Penny was Paul's auntie? Is this where people twisted it around? Did you get this email sent to you? Yeah, it was sent to me. It was sent to me. I take all of it with a grain of salt. It depends it depends what it is. I just take everything with a grain of salt. I don't know where the originator, like the person that sent me this, got it from, but they sent it. And doesn't seem too off the wall. I said the other day my auntie lives in St. Michael's. Turns out it was her that found the phone, right? So it was Penny's, who's ever daughter, whatever. That's to Penny's, her auntie. She initially left the phone as she thought, right? It was only when another dog walker turned up, and that one you can tell that they're referring to about Anne-Marie Fletcher. Oh, my other one is in. So it's almost 4 now, 4 to 5. Like it's going to be in 2.5 hours from 4 o'clock my time. So in another 18 minutes, it will be 2.5 hours from that. So basically 2 hours and 45 minutes away. What? Shelly, what? Paul is not the husband. Yeah, no, Paul is the other half, the partner. Right, Angel, sore throat. What, Shelly? What's up? If you get enough UK members, will you have another members live for them? Yeah, I guess it really depends, to be honest with you. Probably, I mean, the members lives are the members live. Sometimes I don't know. Never thought about it. Don't get me thinking right now. I've already done 2 lives today. My brain's a little bit tired. Bottom line is, we do have a lot of UK members now. And in fact, it's the UK members that come see us more than the Delphi members. And that's because we refuse to ride off of a case like Delphi. We spent 2.5 years on it, and there's not much going on, but there's some movement, a little bit now with it going on. But it's just a matter of when you spend 2.5 years on a case, and you keep looking whatever. And then, like I said, other cases come along. Well, again, after a while, like 2.5 years, when somebody's been arrested, and in that case it has, it's like, I mean, how many times can you regurgitate like that stuff over and over and over and over again, for the last couple of years? I mean, it's different when you're trying to figure out the puzzle, kind of like in the Nicola Bulley case. You're just really trying to figure out the puzzle. Delphi was the same way. You're trying to figure out the puzzle, but at some point, the puzzle comes to an end, Yeah, there's Adam. Absolutely. Actually, absolutely. There you go. There's the star of the hour. Absolutely. But no, I'm liking doing these lives and as well as our nighttime lives because, we're hitting a different target audience which is the UK. So obviously, you don't want to be sitting here doing lives for the UK at 6:30 at nighttime when it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning for them, And it's the people that are from the UK that are mostly interested in the case for Nicola Bulley. So it would just be the dumbest thing in the world to do a live for them at nighttime when they're just going to have to watch a video playback instead of interacting. And most people do like to interact and have their thoughts, and stuff like that and be able to be heard. Shelly, you go to sleep right now. You put your wrench away and you go to sleep. You're making my brain hurt. Yeah, I get what you mean because of the time difference. So, you know what? Never thought about it until you just brought it up, to be honest with you. But yeah, if there's a point where there's a ton of UK people, then yeah, obviously, you know, can easily do separate ones or whatever. Yep. Because that way, I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody makes one, they make one, you know? You know, at some point it's going to hit their time zone. So if we do them earlier, then obviously the UK people get to, and then the US people will get to see it when they get home from dinner or something like that. Anyways, you guys. So again, if anyone does want to cough up that $1.99 and become a member, then you guys can play with some of those emotes, and then I can make another emote too, by the way, if I get enough people that join. But you guys can play with the emotes. You can join the private Facebook group if you want. And regardless of that, you can always follow on Twitter, you know, or the Facebook page. It's a crime and shame. Or don't, you know. It's up to you. Anyways, you guys, for all those people that are members anyway, we will see you tonight at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And again, we'll go over that exclusive interview that Adam's going to have, and Koberger, and the new paperwork that came out for Kagan Klein, and then the Richard Allen stuff as well. Okay. Thank you guys for joining, and thanks for all your comments and going through this again with me, and going through the couple videos. And just know at the end of the day, you're not the one messed up. They're the ones messed up when it comes to the Nicola Bulley case. Anyways, you guys, take care. Have a great night. And we'll see those people on the live tonight. Okay, guys? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.